Alright, man, look, this is a video by North02. This is chimpanzees have entered the Stone Age. Chat, it's almost our time to go, and then once the humans is off, the chimpanzees finna cook. Oh nah. Oh nah. Oh nah. Hold on.
Chimpanzee just made a stone tool, and that one's hunting with a spear. If this looks like the Stone Age to you, you're not wrong. They've wielded stone tools for thousands of years, and some are virtually identical to those crafted by our own ancestors.
So are they truly in the Stone Age or just standing on the edge? Let's find out.
For decades, researchers thought tool use is what separated us from the other animals, what made us human. That was until a revolutionary primatologist conducted a study in the 1960s. Jane Goodall ventured into the remote Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania. One day, she witnessed chimpanzees at a termite mound repeatedly poke stalks of grass into the holes. The termites would bite onto the grass defensively, allowing the chimp to pull them out and eat them. Astonished at her discovery, Goodall told paleoanthropologist Louis Leakey, who wrote, "Now we must redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as human. Tools..."
Hold on. No, hold on. We is cousins for real. Like we really is cousins, but this is why that Planet of the Apes isn't that far off, bro. Just a smidge more intelligence and we'd be cooked. No, like real shit. A smidge more of intelligence, we'd be cooked.
Are evolutionary game changers. They unlock resources that would otherwise be impossible to reach. In the case of termite fishing, the stick directly aids chimpanzees in acquiring this food source. But this is far from their only tool. Further research has found that chimpanzees actually use over 20 different tools. One of the most important is their use of stone tools. Stone hammers are used to smash open hard nuts against anvil stones. This lets them consume abundant calories they otherwise would have no chance in eating. A recent paper looked closely at this behavior and found something fascinating. Using stone tools to open nuts is not present in every population. Chimps in seasonal, resource-scarce environments exploit nuts more often. But the study also looked closer at the hammers and anvils themselves. They found that they differ regionally and choose a certain hammerstone size depending on the hardness of the nut.
What? So, bro, chat, they're not just picking up any random rocks. They're analyzing the rocks, like analyzing the nuts. Like, oh, this would need this. Let me grab this size stone. That's like, there's a difference between just using something and analyzing it first. Like, I need to know which one is better. That's insane.
The so-called anvils that they smash the nuts against are usually just large flat stones that happen to be near the nut trees. These anvils are fairly distinct archaeologically, and researchers have found evidence that their use goes back at least 4,300 years, meaning that this behavior likely extends far into prehistory.
So niggas been wow, hold on. They're using previous tools that they've been using for years. Niggas think it's just, oh, some random rock by the tree. No, they've been smashing nuts on these stones forever, and it's flattened it to the... That's fucking crazy.
What is also interesting to note is that some populations do not smash nuts at all, meaning some chimpanzee populations are more technologically advanced than others. Another important tool that chimpanzees use are spears. Yeah, that's right. They make their own spears by...
That nigga anus prolapse like shit. I'm sorry, that's so gross. I didn't mean to point that out. But like his booty hole sitting on the tree with him. That's crazy. I'm Jesus. What the fuck? You don't see that motherfucker? You don't see it.
By taking off a sturdy stick and biting the tip to form a sharp end. They use these weapons to stab into the burrows of bush babies, which are some of the cutest animals on the planet.
They eat them?
They jam the stick into the burrow, killing the animal, and then they use the stick to get the animal out. These spears seem to be used exclusively...
Why's your asshole busted out like that? Huh? Tell the truth. Nah, nasty TikToks. Nah, RJ, you funny as shit. Yo, nah.
Exclusively for hunting animals that they physically cannot get to. They have never been witnessed using them against one another. However, chimpanzees have been documented using sticks and branches to hit each other. They even throw
True.
rocks during aggressive encounters. It seems that they have already had their 2001 Space Odyssey moment.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it a bean. If we leave these niggas around guns for about a good 20 years, like they have full on access to that, I feel like they'll figure it out. Like once, like a one off kind of, you know what I'm saying, gun encounter, nah. But say somebody has a chimp, right? Say somebody has a chimp and they keep showing the chimp how to use the gun, like, here, take this, shoot this, da-da-da-da, like every day on some shit. Them motherfuckers gonna learn real fucking easy, and then we're gonna be cooked.
So chimpanzees use rocks to crack open nuts, they fish for termites, and they even stab prey with spears.
Okay.
So have they truly entered the Stone Age? Well, they are far from the only animals to use tools. Orangutans use sticks to fish for insects and honey. You may have even seen this image of an orangutan spearfishing. While it is true that this orangutan was imitating some fishermen he was watching, he was unsuccessful and pretty much just splashed a stick at the water, so it's not impressive as it might seem.
It's the thought, though. I've never seen no shit, and that it's definitely the thought. They're not good at it, but they're learning, and that's where it's very interesting. Like, how far off are they from being more advanced? You know what I'm saying? More advanced.
Apparently after this shot, he ended up stealing a fish that was already hooked by a fisherman. So I guess that's a win. But plenty of other primates like capuchin monkeys use stones on a daily basis to open shellfish. Even otters use stones to open shellfish.
Yeah.
Crows fish with sticks, and octopuses use shells for protection. Tool use is not exclusive to humans nor primates. So then what set our ancestors apart? Well, our ancestors took stone tools to another level by modifying them. By smashing stones together, they broke off sharp stone edges which could cut. This opened up all kinds of new resources for our ancestors. Just as the termite sticks or spears allowed chimpanzees to extract calories out of their environment, sharp stone tools allowed our ancestors to do the same. On the savannas where we evolved, carnivores are constantly killing prey and leaving their carcasses with plenty of meat and bone marrow left over.
Okay.
A study looking at zebras killed by lions found that on average, 33 pounds or 15 kilograms of meat was left over. That is roughly 20,000 calories in meat alone, not to mention the marrow. This would have met the daily requirements of about 27 early hominins. But to harvest this meat, our ancestors needed the sharp edges of stone to cut through tendons, scrape off meat, and break into the brains and marrow.
Okay.
This was one of humanity's biggest breakthroughs, and it's not far off of what chimpanzees are currently doing in Africa. The earliest modified stone tools are 3.3 million years old. We don't know who was making them.
That motherfucker ugly. That boy. Shit. Hey, shit.
It was most likely our ancestors or close relatives, but who knows? It could have even been the ancestors of chimpanzees. What we do know is that stone tool use wouldn't catch on until around 2.4 million years ago, when hominids started selecting stone that could hold a sharp edge, and then they learned how to produce efficient tools.
Here's an example of the kinds of tools that our ancestors were using well over 2 million years ago. It's really just a sharp flake of stone, but it's an incredibly useful tool for cutting through flesh and also pounding through bones and other objects. Though it's extremely simple, it was an evolutionary game changer for our ancestors.
Many paleoanthropologists would argue that the intentional development of a cutting edge has to be the lower bound of the Stone Age. Otherwise, otters and capuchins are also in the Stone Age. Chimpanzees have never been documented in the wild creating a sharp stone tool, but they are limited for a number of reasons. First of all, fine-grained stones that create sharp edges when broken, such as flint, are not common in the modern range of chimpanzees.
Okay.
Most of the time it is thick jungle, and the stones they have access to are basically useless for cutting. Our ancestors, on the other hand, lived across open, rocky savannas that often had sources of quality stone. But just because chimpanzees don't have access to the right raw materials for knapping stone, doesn't mean they lack the intelligence to understand it.
Okay.
So researchers had a bold idea. What if we simply taught a chimpanzee how to flint knap? Meet Kanzi, a language-competent bonobo.
I'm telling you, chat. This is I love how it's revolutionary for sure. Like I love that. I love that. But we can't keep listen to me. We can't keep teaching these niggas this shit, bruh. we're going to get cooked. It's just like the movie. They keep doing this. They gonna keep doing this.
Who was taught to flint nap in the early 1990s? Bonobos are a closely related cousin of chimpanzees, often seen as more socially intelligent. Kanzi was especially intelligent. He even learned how to play Minecraft, but it was this
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. What do you mean? If we teach them brain rot, then we're good. What kind of Minecraft did he learn? That's you know what I'm saying?
This video of him flint napping that honestly blew my mind. They first focused on showing him how to knock off flakes through percussion, which is what I'm doing here. You literally hit one rock against another rock in order to knock off a stone flake. So now let's watch some incredible close-up footage of Kanzi napping.
Oh, look there what Kanzi made. That's really perfect. Oh, look at that
cooking.
one. Oh, thank you. They would really cut things good.
Kanzi was able to knock off flakes consistently, and after a while, he even came up with his own methods of flint napping. Instead of using the hammerstone in his hand, he started throwing it at the core. This may have helped him overcome challenges unique to the hands of chimpanzees, or to protect his fingers. But how fascinating is it that he invented a new flint napping technique? After 2 years of practice, researchers decided it was finally time to put his skills to the test. They gave him an unmodified core of flint and a hammerstone. Nearby was a clear box with fruit inside. It was held shut by a thick nylon cord. In order to get to his reward, he would have to hit off a large sharp flake to cut through the cord.
He was fucking cutting
knocking off flakes was not a problem for the trained bonobo. However, some of these flakes were too small, so he would try again. He would select the largest flakes and assess their sharpness by looking at the edge and testing it on his tongue. Eventually, he knocked off a large flake and was able to cut open the box.
He cut it!
This process was repeated 11 times, producing an abundance of data and artifacts. Now here's where it gets really interesting.
What the
When researchers
fuck?
analyzed the bonobo-made artifacts, they found something remarkable. Many of them were virtually indistinguishable from the tools that our ancestors made 2 million years ago. The flakes had striking platforms, bulbs of percussion, and sharp usable edges. The ones he decided to use were the largest and sharpest tools. His method of assessing the sharpness...
difference. Oh yeah, we're so fucking cooked. Not only is this nigga, he's making multiple tools, he knows which one would work best, and is using that to open... Yeah, we're so fucking cooked. Yo, I'm telling you, a little bit more intelligence, humans are cooked. We're on our... I ain't gonna lie, humans are on their last stretch. Not even gonna lie. Greed has put us on our last stretch. We're on our last stretch of humans. I feel like it's like we maybe have 500 years left. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like it's like 500 years left in the human species, and I feel like we're cooked. The greed, it's getting to us, bro. I feel like 500 years, we out of there, bro.
With his tongue may have been the same way our ancestors assessed sharpness. But there were differences too. Our ancestors usually knocked off flakes at around 80 degrees to consistently produce long flakes.
Nigga said 2 weeks.
Kanzi's flakes averaged nearly 90 degrees, essentially right angles. This is the maximum angle at which these materials will fracture at all. This tells us that Kanzi did not have quite as complex an understanding of flint napping as our ancestors did 2 million years ago. And this may also be due to chimpanzee hands not being as dexterous as ours.
True.
Our lineage has been napping stone for well over 2 million years. Modern human hands are quite literally evolved to nap stone. It was only in the past 5,000 years or so that most of us stopped. Kanzi's flint napping was impressive, but it was notably worse than, say, Homo erectus.
Okay.
Either way, it gives us a window into what the earliest sharp stone tools would have looked like. Our minds were already capable of understanding how to create sharp stone edges, and our dexterous hands came later. In another study conducted 14 years later, Kanzi had clearly become more adept at making and using stone tools. Kanzi and another bonobo used stone to break into logs and dig, both getting a reward if successful. Kanzi used flakes like a drill, rotating them to bore deeper into the log.
Who taught him that? They taught him the cutting, but who taught him how to like dig into it? You see what I'm like? You know what I mean?
He used larger flakes as wedges to pry into the logs and even
We
used
didn't teach you that. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. What you doing? What you doing? We didn't teach you that.
them to chop. In another part of the experiment, he used flakes as shovels to dig into tough sediment to retrieve food. It's interesting to note that Kanzi was far more successful than the other less trained bonobo, indicating that his training really did pay off and allowed him to access these resources. Kanzi lived on for about a decade doing all kinds of fun scientific
That nigga was roasting marshmallows.
studies before sadly passing away in March of 2025.
Oh no.
These studies show that with human interaction or training, bonobos and chimpanzees can produce intentional stone tools, leaving wear patterns comparable to early human artifacts. Such tool production and utilization competencies are extremely similar to the competencies of early humans such as Homo habilis and Homo erectus. A 2021 study on untrained chimpanzees showed that they did not spontaneously create or use sharp flake stone tools, even when provided with materials, suggesting extensive social learning or training is necessary for this behavior.
True. I would say they need some time. They need some time. They're probably like fresh on the. We were in the Stone Age for how long? They probably like fresh on the. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of stuff that they have to learn, but
We know that chimpanzees have to learn how to process nuts with stones and anvils from their relatives who teach them the technique. It's a cultural innovation.
yeah, it has to be taught.
In order for wild chimpanzees to start flaking their own stone tools, they would have to have quality stone available to them, and importantly, a reason to create sharp tools.
Yep.
Without direct human intervention, this seems unlikely. But funny enough, capuchin monkeys in Brazil are accidentally achieving what we consider a human milestone. They use stone hammers to open fruits and nuts, but also for a far stranger reason. They smash rocks together to create dust which they then lick up. Scientists really have no idea why they do this. Maybe it's to help them get some minerals into their diet. Regardless of why they do it, they happen to create stone flakes that are virtually identical to early human tools in Africa.
Here's the thing. They're doing this and not knowing what this is used for. Once they start cutting with it, then there's going to be a problem. Chimps
These
didn't
stone
cut
flakes have been found in Brazil in layers dating back over 50,000 years ago. At first it was thought that humans were in the region tens of thousands of years before we thought, but it now seems it was actually capuchin monkeys leaving a seemingly human signature. So ironically, capuchin monkeys have unintentionally entered the Stone Age before our closest relatives. So are chimpanzees in the Stone Age? Kind of, but not really. They've been hunting with spears
I
and
feel like the early stages.
cracking nuts with stone hammers for thousands of years. And Kanzi proved that bonobos can flint knap when taught. Yet wild individuals have never made a cutting tool on their own, at least as far as we know. Not because they lack the cognitive capacity, but because they lack the necessity. The story of our own species likely mirrors this pattern. We exploited carcasses with sharp stone tools to get access to an entirely new food source. During severe droughts or food scarcity, tool-using apes had a much better chance at surviving. This feedback loop favored an increasing reliance on tools, and fundamentally shaped what we became. Tool use likely became non-negotiable for our survival. Chimpanzees do not face these same circumstances. They simply need a reason, and let's hope they never get one.
Let's hope they never get one. Because literally, chat, if they start needing a reason, they're going to start learning.
Well, that was a fun one. I still can't believe these videos of chimpanzees flint napping. I legitimately know humans who are worse at flint napping. What topic should I cover next? Comment down below, hit that like button, and most importantly, subscribe.
W video, man. W video, bruh. Shout out to North 02 or 02. I don't know how to say your name. Great video.